Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about the ascending tracts, in that dorsal column medial lemniscus system. So, this tract, it is also known as posterior column tract, posterior column tracts, okay, posterior column tracts. Okay. So, what we will discuss today, what are its functions or which sensations they will carry, okay, functions or the sensations carried by this dorsal column tract and its pathway most importantly. These two things only we are going to discuss in this short lecture. Okay. Now, I will just show you the textbook diagram of this tract, okay, how exactly it will go. So, we will discuss how exactly it will go. First, coming to the functions, like what sensations it carries to the brain. Okay. So, it will carry the sensations of fine touch, then tactile discrimination or tactile localization first, fine touch, tactile localization, then we have tactile discrimination, that is 2-point discrimination, okay, 2-point discrimination. Then we have sense of vibration, these senses are carried from these particular tracts, okay, sense of vibration, then sense of pressure, that is the deep touch sense of pressure, and finally stereognosis, that is ability to identify some commonly known objects. Suppose if I keep my eyes closed and this pencil is given to me, okay. So, if I am able to recognize that this is a pencil by its form and shape, okay, by closing my eyes, this is phenomenon known as stereognosis, okay. So, all these sensations are carried through this posterior column tracts or the dorsal column medial lemniscal system, that is the ascending tract, that is they are ascending from the spinal cord to the brain, okay. So, first I will show you for the pathway where exactly these tracts will move on, okay. So, I will just draw a rough line diagram of the spinal cord, okay. I will just draw a first line diagram of a spinal cord. See, this is the cut section of a spinal cord. So, this is the posterior part, that is the dorsal part, and this is the anterior part, that is the ventral part, okay. Now, in this posterior, this is the gray matter, central canal and gray matter. So, in this posterior white matter is known as posterior funiculus. In this posterior funiculus, these two tracts will move ascend upside, okay, ascend upside. So, this is fasciculus gracilis, this is bundle of fibers, nerve fiber, fasciculus gracilis, which carries the sensation from the lower limb, it carries the sensation from the lower limb, okay, it carries the sensation from the lower limb, okay, lower part of the body, and that is it is medial, it is near the central canal in the white matter posterior side, that is why it is called as posterior column or the dorsal column tracts. Now, with the red color I am drawing one more group of the nerve fibers, that is the tracts which are carrying the sensations from the upper limb or the upper part of the body, okay, that is upper limb or the upper part of the body. This it is called as fasciculus. Fasciculus is nothing but this bundle of these nerve fibers, fasciculus cuneatus, okay. So, this is called as fasciculus cuneatus, okay, fasciculus cuneatus. So, it is carrying the sensation mainly from the upper part or the upper limb or the upper part of our body, okay. Now, you know, all the sensations are carried from the posterior nerve root, okay, and this is ultimately goes to the brains, that is the sensory cortex, this area somatosensory area 1, somatosensory area 2, okay, that is post central gyrus, this is the central gyrus. Posterior to the central gyrus, that is on the back side of the central gyrus, there is a sensory cortex, this area which I am highlighting, somatosensory area 1 and as well as somatosensory area 2. If you remember, we have discussed about the descending tracts that arises from this motor cortex, that is primary motor area, supplementary motor area and the premotor area, which I am highlighting with the red color. So, the sensations are ultimately goes to this part of the brain. Now, from the spinal cord, how the sensation goes ultimately to this part of the brain, let us discuss, okay. Let us discuss now how exactly it will go to the this part of the brain. Okay. So, I will just draw a line diagram to explain these concepts more clearly. So, I will draw a cerebral cortex, okay, line diagram of the cerebral cortex here, a line diagram of the cerebral cortex, okay, rough line diagram. Then I will draw the structures like midbrain, pons, medulla, midbrain, pons, medulla. This is the brain stem, okay, midbrain, pons and medulla, okay, medulla. Then it is continuous as spinal cord, it is continuous as spinal cord, okay. Now, I will just draw the cut section of the spinal cord here one more, okay, once more. So, consider this as the thoracic, cervical and thoracic segment, it is carrying the sensation from the upper limb, okay, upper limb, and one more here cut section of the spinal cord carrying the sensations from the lower limb, okay, just a rough line diagram, lower limb, that is lower part of the body. Now, as I said you, from the lower limb, the sensations which are there in the, that is this all this sensation which have already fine touch, fine touch, proprioception, okay, stereognosis and all are gone from this lower limb to the dorsal, from the dorsal root to the tract of gracilis, okay, fasciculusgracilis, which we have discussed just now, this one, fasciculusgracilis, which lies on the medial side from the lower limb, okay. Now, these will go on either side, okay, I am just drawing for the sake of convenience only on one side. So, it will go from this nucleus gracilis, where it will go up to medulla, okay. In the medulla there is a nucleus, and this nucleus it is known as nucleus gracilis. What is this nucleus known as? Nucleus gracilis, that is why the tract of gracilis or fasciculus gracilis, okay, from the lower limb. Similarly, from the upper limb, I am showing it with the red color now, from the upper limb the sensations are carried through the fasciculus cuneatus, it is bundle of the nerve fibers. They will go from the posterior root and they will ascend up, and in the medulla they will terminate into nucleus cuneatus. This is nucleus cuneatus, okay. This is in the medulla. Now, you can see, so from this one lower limb, it lies the medial side and upper limb on the medial side. On the other side also the same thing will occur on the other side also, okay. I have just shown you the one side, from the opposite side also the same thing will happen, okay, opposite side also the same thing. Now, at the level of the medulla, these fibers will cross to the opposite side, okay. From the medulla they will call it known as sensory decussation. We have seen in the motor system, here there is a sensory decussation. So, these fibers from the medulla goes to the opposite side and ascend up and they will terminate into opposite side thalamus, okay, opposite side thalamus. Where exactly in the thalamus? Venteroposterior complex or venteroposterior nuclei of the thalamus, okay, venteroposterolateral nucleus or venteroposterior complex of thalamus, they will terminate, okay, this nucleus gracilis and cuneatus on the opposite side, okay. Similarly, this also from the other end also they will terminate on the opposite side. So, there is a crossing over. Now, these bundle of the fibers after crossing in the brain stem, that is the neurons. So, this bundle it is also known as medial lemniscus. What it is known as? Medial lemniscus, this one, medial lemniscal system, okay, medial lemniscus or medial lemniscus system. That is why it is also known as medial lemniscus system. So, it will go to the thalamus, and from the thalamus this will go to the somatosensory cortex, okay. It will go to the opposite somatosensory cortex ultimately, okay, opposite somatosensory cortex. Very simple, okay. This is the pathway which you need to know about the dorsal column medial lemniscus system, which carries the sensation fine touch, tactile localization, tactile discrimination, vibration, pressure and stereognosis, okay, from the lower limb, from the nucleus of fasciculus gracilis, and from the upper limb fasciculus cuneatus, okay. Let me explain the same thing from the textbook diagram, okay, if you can see it. So, from this lower limb that is the fine touch sensation, it is carried, fine touch sensation it is carrying from this dorsal root, from this lower limb, and which is running medially, okay, medial line, it will go up to the level of medulla. This is the lower part of the medulla. Okay. From the medulla, it will decussate to the opposite side and it will ascend up into the upper part of the medulla, pons and midbrain, and it will terminate ultimately into the thalamus. This is the thalamus. Okay. Now, similarly, from the upper limb, that is upper limb, the sensations are carried through the fasciculus cuneatus. Okay. Fasciculus cuneatus, I will use red coloring, fasciculus cuneatus. So, it will again end into the thalamus, and from there it will go to the from this it will go to the sensory cortex. Okay, sensory cortex. So, the sensations of the right upper limb and lower limb will ultimately sensed by the left upper limb and lower limb is sensed by the right cerebral cortex and vice versa. Okay. Hope the concept is very clear and you know the location of the somatosensory area 1 and 2, that is at the postcentral gyrus. Okay. If you like our explanation, please subscribe our channel Doctor's Corner and share the link with your friends. Thank you.